There you have it. It's 7 o'clock on Saturday, January 15th. And this is Saturday Night Live with Zach and Ray and Zach, the team, the staff, those that you depend on for a little bit of entertainment between 7 and whenever. Well, I'm glad the audience appreciated that.
All right, Bob. Saturday night. This is the last remote Saturday Night live stream for a while because tomorrow you're moving down here to Bethesda, Maryland, which I'm very excited about. Next week we're filming our first. We got 3 car reviews. Next week we're filming car reviews. We're doing the daily show side by side, Saturday night stream side by side. I'm moving into your apartment with you. Did I tell you that? Actually, I forgot to.
Oh, it's well, we're used to living in a 1-bedroom together. So as long as you got the sofa, I'm down with that. Bring your own pillow.
So here's what I wanted to do tonight, Pops. There is a lot to cover. There is a ton to cover. We've got the Ford news, which is kind of the impetus for tonight's title. Car dealers.
There's Ford news?
There's Ford news. Car dealerships are starting to crumble. I came up with that. What do you think?
Oh my God, the bad foundation. Is that what it is?
Yes, actually, yeah, that's really good. We've got that. Tesla, Pops. This news out of Tesla is going to make you, I can't wait. We've got some fun stories as well. I've got a story out of the state of Michigan. Just absolutely hilarious. There's the lawsuit that BMW is facing right now. I also saw some fraud with payment packing that I want to talk about with you. There's a lot. There's a lot to cover. Should we kick things off with Ford, though? I think that is where the meat and potatoes of tonight are.
I suppose we should, assuming that you will share with me what the news is.
Well, you know what the news is, Dad. There was a memo that was leaked earlier this week. I'm going to post this in the live chat. So if you're
I think this is a new memo trying to desperately by Ford to address. No, this is the original memo. I thought this was an additional memo trying to convince dealers that they shouldn't charge market adjustments.
So we've got the same memo. So everyone, I just tossed it in the chat. It's right there.
Yeah.
Join AA. Just go to the website. You can take a Pops. The reason I think car dealerships are starting to crumble, and I want to walk through this with you here.
Please
This memo. We got big down here at the bottom. Okay. Yeah. But I actually I took some time today and I actually started typing it out myself. Okay.
Okay.
Ford is taking control. Let me see. I have it in here. Let me Control F.
Control F. Okay.
This part of the memo is a bit humorous. Okay, let's read this. Let's hear what I wrote. This behavior is not allowable under paragraph 6 of the sales and service agreement. We talked about this earlier in the week. Paragraph 6I, this was from Ford to their dealers, states that, quote, the dealer shall conduct dealership operations in a manner that will reflect favorably at all times on the reputation of the dealer, other company authorized dealers. I got a typo there. The company products and trademarks and trade names used or claimed by the company or any of its subsidiaries. The dealer shall avoid in every way any bait, deceptive, misleading, confusing, or illegal advertising or business practices. Here's what I wrote, Pops, and I want your reaction to it.
Okay.
This part of the memo is a bit humorous since Ford could easily reprimand all of their dealers for false advertising. As we all know, bait and switch practices, deceptive pricing, and misleading and confusing tactics are used day in and day out at countless dealerships. That being said, Ford is threatening to allocate F-150 Lightning inventory to dealers who to not allocate inventory to dealers that behave in this way with the Lightning. That's newsworthy, as it's the first time Ford or any major automaker has stood up to their dealers on a mass market vehicle, and it could signal the beginning of the end for unilateral control, dealer control over the customer experience. To me, Dad, this represents the first time that a brand, a major automaker, is saying to the dealer monopoly out there, they're saying, hey, this business model worked for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
You got to start to play by our rules, and if you don't, there are some repercussions for that. That's how I interpreted it. I see a smug look on your face.
That's a great interpretation, and the first Ford dealer that Ford decides has violated paragraph 6, and they take their Lightning allocation and give it to other dealers, that will trigger a huge lawsuit from that dealer against Ford, because they will sue Ford over the fact that they are selectively enforcing paragraph 6 when they know very well, and the other dealers can probably prove rather easily, that the dealers that are now getting their allocation are probably doing the same things. So, hey, this is one of those cases where it looks good on paper. Okay, it would create the this feeling for the customers that Ford's looking out for us, uh, when the truth of the matter is they won't enforce it because they know if they do, they get sued because there's too many dealers that are going to be doing the things that they don't want them to do. So if they punish one, uh, they're not going to be able to prove that the others that are now getting the allocation aren't doing the same thing. So, it's like when uh, um, somebody's actions don't mirror their words. So these are great words. It's a good PR stunt, okay, which is all it is, by the way.
You think so?
It's just to engender good feelings amongst the public.
Yeah.
Um, and as much as we'd like to believe there's some teeth in it, there aren't because they're not going to do it.
It is funny that you bring that up. I'm going to actually flip over to an article that I did not write. However, it's in the industry publication called Automotive News. So
I've heard of
Yeah.
that. I think the reason we get Automotive News is based off of my subscription.
Thank you, Pops. Let's not talk too much about that. I don't want them to come after me to be like, "Hey, Zach, you have to buy it." But anyway, yes, your subscription. Thank you for your subscription. We're a family. We're in the family.
Yeah, well, we are a family. Last time I checked, your last name's exactly the same as mine.
Yeah, buddy. Ford is worried that the markups of up to $30,000 some retails are demanding for the F-150 Lightning could be harmful. And then it goes on to say here, where is it? Although the automaker can't force retailers to charge a certain price, Ford spokesman Mike Levine has responded on Twitter to people frustrated. So, I mean, it literally says it right there. Like, they can't.
I've said this before.
Huh.
The Lightning's going to come. Each Lightning is going to have a Monroney label on the windows, on one of the windows of the car. The window sticker.
That's the window sticker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the window sticker has at the bottom the MSRP. And MSRP stands for manufacturer suggested retail price. In most cases, that suggestion's a joke because in the past, nobody paid the manufacturer's suggested retail price. 95 to 98% of the time, people paid less than the manufacturer's suggested retail price. But the thing that you have to remember is it's just a suggested retail price. If the market is willing to pay more, then dealers are allowed to ask for it. Now, I am not defending dealers that do that. I'm just saying that they have a right to do that if they so desire. I think in the long term, that's a bad business decision by a dealer. I don't think there's ever a need to charge a penny more than the manufacturer's suggested retail price. If you're talking about a Lightning that has a $65,000 MSRP and it has 10% margin built in it, I don't know how to tell you, but that's $6,500 of profit that's built into the car. Well, any dealer would be thrilled to make $6,500 per retail unit selling a new vehicle. So there's, other than greed or taking advantage of a market condition, there's no real reason for a dealer to do it. The sad reality is that there's a percentage of them that are indeed greedy. But there's nothing Ford can do about that. It's because it's just a suggested retail price.
Well, there is something they can do about it. The Tesla model, they can't do it because they have this incumbent business that puts the bread on their table, and they're never going to walk away.
They have signed franchise agreements. That's why they can't do anything about it.
They have language in those damn signed franchise agreements that they could do something about, but they don't.
They don't. And Tesla
that is so screwed up, man.
But Tesla does it all the time. How much did Tesla raise their manufacturer suggested retail prices last year?
1 second.
A poop.
There's not a big enough bull to make that much poop.
A poop ton.
A poop ton.
Okay, a poop ton. I'm
not saying Tesla's the gold standard, Pops. I'm just saying, so this was the first time I've been exposed to language from the franchise dealer agreements. And again, it came from the U.S. sales boss, Ford's U.S. sales boss, Frick is his last name, sending out this memo and then that getting leaked on the internet.
Is that Frick that rhymes with... Go ahead.
Oh, have you started playing Wordle yet?
I looked it up today,
Yeah,
and to find out what it is.
I'll teach you
And
how to play. I'll teach you how to. It's very
well, I kind of read and I kind of looked at it and I said, it's not me.
no,
It's
it
just not.
is you.
No, Words for Friends is
Words
me.
with friends.
Scrabble type thing
No,
is
that's what
is
Wordle. All right, all right, all right. Just please,
okay.
I see
Yeah.
it. Anyway.
Well, all I know is your girlfriend got it
She
in
beat my
4 moves, and it took you 6.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it took me a long time today. Okay, but Dad, why the hell do they have the language in there then? Is it for these like very edge cases where they want to kind of veil a threat or have a PR stunt as
Well,
I
and there's so many different sets of language in these things. I mean, if a dealer principal gets convicted of a felony,
that Kia
well,
dealership I'm thinking of right
yeah,
Yeah.
well that can void your franchise agreement. Now they got to sue you, and it all goes to court. But you know, but this type of thing, they get to use the language from paragraph 6 in Ford's franchise agreement with their dealers, and they get to use it as a PR stunt that they're trying to do something good for their customers, which is all nonsense. Okay, because they're not going to take away anybody's allocation. Okay, they're not going to prevent the dealers from charging an additional dealer markup if they want to. They're not going to do it. In 100+ years,
Huh.
Ford has had ample opportunities to revoke dealer licenses, dealer franchise agreements, and it doesn't happen very often. And trust me, it probably has never happened because somebody put a market adjustment on a car. So
Now, what percentage? I got a question for you, Pops. What percentage of consumers did I lose you there? You there? All right,
I'm
there you
here.
are.
I'm here. What
What
percentage?
percentage? What
Yeah.
percentage of Ford's allocation of F-150 Lightnings do you think are being priced above MSRP? Because the America's president, Gal Hortra, I apologize, I definitely butchering that
Yeah,
name. He
he
put out
says it's a low percentage. I think he's like in some ether induced coma to think that it's some small percentage. If there's 200,000 reservations, okay, and let's be generous and say they can produce 50,000 of them the first year, okay.
yeah.
Well, that still leaves 150,000 people with reservations that can't get the car. And they might not be able to get that Lightning for 2 years or 3 years. So, what percentage do I think of Ford dealers that are going to ask for a market adjustment on those? I would guess it would be in the 70 to 80% range.
And he
It's
was
going
saying
to,
10% of dealers are doing market adjustments, which is total BS. That's
yeah,
completely
come
BS.
on. You know,
Wait a second, Pops. We got to give out our first Ray Shefska stamp of approval tonight. Carl, listening to you guys live from my new Subaru Forester Wilderness on my way home from my half-day workday. Hey, Carl, congrats.
Congratulations, Carl, and I hope you really enjoy your Subaru Wilderness. I know, my daughter Dara and her husband, they are still enjoying the 2011 Subaru Outback that I originally purchased way back in, I think, 2010.
Yeah.
I've never had any major issues with the car. And I've always found Subarus to be quite good at what they do and extremely reasonably priced.
With the exception of stock in their lots right now, Subaru's
Well,
inventory is down to like 6,000 cars nationwide. So
yeah,
kudos.
they have a 4-day supply of cars, but
Yeah.
typically the vehicles have been good vehicles, and the brand loyalty for Subaru is really rather high.
So let's talk about the one other. So someone asked what happened to that Kia dealership. We'll talk about that tonight as well. Let's touch on the one other piece of the memo that Ford had sent out. That we talked a bit about this during the week. I'm going to talk about it again now. The no sale clause. Okay, we posted a video on the channel earlier this week. Let me read the language. I won't put up on the screen, but let me read the language. It says here explicitly. In order to prevent the resale of 2022 model year Ford F-150 Lightnings, Ford is offering support for a no-sale provision to be signed by the customer at the time of purchase. Dealers may add this language to existing closing forms or create a new standalone document. The language that they're then proposing then reads, purchaser hereby agrees that it will not sell, offer to sell, or otherwise transfer any ownership interest in the vehicle prior to the first anniversary of the date hereof. Purchaser further agrees that seller may seek injunctive relief to prevent the transfer of title of the vehicle or demand payment from purchaser of all value received as consideration for the sale or transfer. And the final statement within the memo says dealers should consult with their legal counsel to address any state-specific requirements. I interpreted this, Pops, as Ford's trying to take and enact more control over the dealership body that really holds them hostage in how they act, and now they're trying to enact control over the consumer as well. I don't love that.
Well, I've read a lot of the comments on our YouTube channel in regards to that.
There were over 600 comments on that video.
There are many people that applaud Ford for doing this because their hope is that it stops the speculators from buying the vehicles and then turning around and selling them right away for a profit. And there are others who hate it, who think it's wrong. I have seen notes from attorneys who said it's a simple contract. If you sign it, you're obligated because it's an addendum to your car purchase. And if you don't agree with it, then don't sign that contract. Now, for those of you who think it's a bold step that Ford's doing to protect the consumers, if there are a lot of speculators out there, okay, that somehow get their hands on these vehicles more so than others, and then they can turn around and sell them for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more than what they paid for it. What would prevent that speculator from saying to said Ford dealer, I won't sign that form, but I will gladly give you $10,000 when I sell the vehicle for $30,000 more than I paid for it?
And then Ford's not enacting control over these additional dealer markups. Like,
no,
you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's like.
So I get why some consumers applaud it, but trust me, if there's all these speculators out there, they will figure out ways to make it beneficial to the dealer to allow them to purchase the vehicle so that they can then turn around and sell it right away without having signed one of those addendums stating that they won't sell it within a year. If there's money to be made, they'll figure out ways to be able to make the money, and they'll figure out that it's still in their benefit to share some of it with the dealership.
What incentive does the dealership have to actually get someone to sign one of those things? Very little, because there's money to be made. There's absolutely money to be made. You used to share stories of when you were at the Penske organization back in the day, you weren't able to sell new cars over MSRP. So what'd you do? You sold them to your leasing company. They were now a used car and you could sell them for more.
Yeah, you could sell them for what the market was. So
what the hell's going to happen here? The same thing. And what's Ford doing to control the dealer body? Not much. And you know what? I'm glad that you made the statement you made earlier. It's all this. It's all talk. All talk. There's no action. And that, but I'm young enough and like naive enough, Dad, to think that that's screwed up. That's screwed up. Like this system that we have in place, it took you away from me for my whole childhood growing up because you were working half days. You were working 12-hour days to make a living for our family, right? But it took you away from me. It takes tens of thousands of people away from their families because they have to grind people out to hold gross profits so they can make more commit. It's the stupidest freaking system, man. And Ford has a perfect opportunity here. They're going EV. They're going to be the new Tesla. Look at us. Look at us.
Their market value exceeded $100 billion. Their stock's going up. The investors are buying the BS.
It's such BS. And like I was buying it too because I'm thinking, great, they're gonna. But you're right. 6 months from now, there's gonna be not a single story about a dealer losing allocation.
I'm telling you, it's just a public relations move to make Ford look better in the consumer's eyes. That's all it is. Yeah, there could be teeth in those franchise agreements, But if they never clamp down, it doesn't mean anything, and they're not going to clamp down. They, like I said, for 100 and some years they've had ample opportunity, and you'd probably be shocked at how few dealerships have ever had their franchises taken away from them. And I guarantee you, none of them have had it taken away from them because they sold something that they shouldn't have sold at a price that they shouldn't have sold it for. Now if it was a stop sale and dealers were violating that, and then the dealership could get sued and Ford Motor Company could get sued, that's a case where Ford might look at it. But in a case where, a customer's just having to pay more than they should, no, they're not going to try and revoke that dealer's franchise agreement. It's not going to happen.
Let's talk about a few other legal things going on in the world. And yeah, Jordan, you said so. It's like WWF, all scripted. Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
I'm afraid so. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
That's exactly what it is.
Kind of scary to think that is what it is. Let's talk about some other lawsuits, Pop, some other legal things going on out there in the automotive world. These are fascinating. We've got a lawsuit against BMW. Is this the second one against BMW?
This is the second one, yeah.
The second one.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, do you mind setting the table for this, Pops? Earlier this year?
Well, earlier this year, BMW Financial, along with a lot of other captive finance companies.
Pretty much everyone.
Started to say that in order to protect the interest of their dealer bodies, that they would no longer give a payoff to any third party source. So if you had a BMW lease and you wanted to trade it in at Lexus and you needed to get a payoff for that lease, they would not give the Lexus dealer a payoff because they're not a BMW branded dealer. Yep. If you wanted to sell the car to Carvana because you could make $8,000 or $10,000 profit above and beyond what the residual value is, they will no longer give a payoff to Carvana. They won't accept a payoff check from Carvana. They will only give the payoff to two parties: another BMW dealer or you as the person leasing the vehicle. So there's a luxury used car dealer suing BMW, Calabasas Motors in California, that's suing BMW over this practice, BMW Financial Services. And now this gentleman is suing BMW Financial Services on behalf of his son because, well, they wouldn't give a payoff to a Toyota dealer that was going to buy the vehicle and allow the young man to make a profit.
Yeah, which is, again, the joys of trying to do something consumer oriented. You can't. And this is what's interesting about this one, Dad, is they're actually petitioning to make it a class action lawsuit on behalf of anyone whose BMW lease ended after August 2021, which was when BMW no longer allowed you to sell to a non-BMW.
Yeah, I mean, they're alleging that there were misstatements of fact from BMW, and so hey, we'll see where the lawsuit goes, and we'll see who prevails. They didn't prevent the kid from being the one to get a payoff and buying it and then turning around and selling it to the Toyota dealer.
Yeah,
they prevented the Toyota dealer from getting the payoff and paying it off directly.
We've got a question here: is Carvana legit? And that hits on the other lawsuit that's currently going on.
Are they legit? Yeah, they're pretty legit. Do they have issues? Yeah, they have some real serious issues.
So I'll pull up. We have an article that came out from, this was actually an update, Pops. This came out of the state of Florida. State threatening to suspend Carvana's license to sell cars in Florida. That saga continues. Carvana has, by January 31st of this month.
Sounds like they got 16 more days to get it corrected.
Yep. So here's the deal. So the department has been proactively working with Carvana to identify and assist Florida customers who have not received their title in a timely manner. A department spokesperson wrote in part in an email to the I-team, the investigative team. The department has notified Carvana that if it fails to submit title applications for any sale made prior to December 1st, 2021 by January 31st, 2022, the department may commence administrative action to suspend Carvana's dealer license in Florida. Now, Pops, hidden at the end of this article, where is it? The state of Florida.
Go to the end.
Yeah. The state of Florida has already filed 2 administrative complaints against Carvana. The state's first complaint resulted in $6,000 in fines. Pops, Can I just for a moment here again? I guess I'll use the
There's not a big enough bull to make that much poop.
this capitalism is my voice cracked. Capitalism is cool, but capitalism screwed up, man. Because $6,000 cost of doing business. This is all more talk.
That's how they look at it. And what's $6,000 to a company that's what's its market value?
Okay, well, their market cap is tanked.
Yes, it has. Yes.
Yeah. Jordan putting here in the chat. Yeah, their stock's down like half in the past 6 months or whatever. But still, I mean, it's incredible that like they're not going to get
It's
their dealer
nothing. I
license
mean,
revoked.
$6,000 is like hell. They spend more than that in billboards, just probably in Orlando, Florida, for goodness sake.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. So just so everyone is aware here, though, is Carvana legit? Sure.
Yeah.
They've got a Better Business Bureau page. We encourage you to read it. We encourage you to read Vroom's. We encourage you to read everyone's. They have lots of issues. They've grown way too fast. They don't know how to give people titles to cars. They have issues with the efficacy of the vehicles that they're selling. I was reviewing actually their quarterly investor report that I didn't realize how many of the cars they sell are actually rental cars. Like that's a huge part of their funnel is buying. Like they have great relationships with Hertz and Enterprise. Like get the Carfax, read those things. Also,
Yes.
thank you.
Here's thank you, Jay Nagamby. But here's the real issue. If it's a rental car, and if there's been damage or there's been an accident, it's not going to appear on the Carfax because the rental car companies don't report that to Carfax. They fix it themselves and don't report that to Carfax. So be aware of that. If it says when you're looking at a vehicle and on the Carfax it says it was a prior rental, know that the rest of the information might not all be there.
Eddie with a pretty relevant story here, but I'm going to pull something up in just a second. Pop saying looked at a new 2022 Toyota Tundra, marked up $10,000 over MSRP, and we already know those prices are quite high on the new Tundras. I just looked at the salesman, then walked out of the showroom. Pops, you know what I'm going to queue up here in a second?
Salesman making a big deposit when he gets his check?
No. Remember, we had a YAA community member who contacted 20. Wasn't it 20?
It was 21 Honda dealers.
Was it Honda?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to find it really quick.
In Chicagoland.
I'm finding it. This is the true tried and tested way, Eddie, to combat against what you just experienced. Let me share my screen and pull this up, and then we got to talk a little bit about Tesla, Pops. It's insane. Chicago area Honda dealer markups. Original post. I called 21 Honda dealers in Chicago and bought a new car at MSRP plus taxes and fees. Here's the list of all the dealerships I called and the quotes I got for my vehicle. Note that I've only called most of them once for a quote, and you can and should further negotiate on price. And here there's an update. It remains to be seen whether the back office will bite me. Check back towards the end of February. In the meantime, if you can, stop buying cars. I love Pill. This is on the YAA community forum. This is a free forum where we hang out, other auto advocates, all sorts of people that want to help. But look at this. Look at this spreadsheet, Pops.
Yep.
I mean, it's
a lot of work involved.
In quotes ranging from MSRP to $8,000 over, and then there's
the always. Well, we won't give you a price unless you show up.
Yep.
And those dealerships, you should never do business with a dealership like that. That is so old school. If your price is that terrible that you're afraid to give it to me over the phone, then why would I want to do business with you? Why? Other than the fact that you've been trained to get control of the customer. If you get a phone call, the idea is to make an appointment and nothing else. Give the customer nothing else. And that is so far from the way you should operate if you're a legitimate business and you want to take care of your customers who are spending their hard-earned dollars with you. Treat them right. Honor the customer. Honor their time. And give them the information they ask for, and don't beat around the bush. Don't be so weak in your presentation and the way you do business that you're too afraid to give them the price because if you do, they won't buy from you.
Now, Pops, we had posted back on the community forum. I just tossed the link in the chat as well. If you don't have an account, create an account again. Free, great conversation.
Free? Did you say free? Can Can I
No,
remind you of one thing? If it's for free, it's for me.
So we had this post from Igor. Igor is a former dealer principal, and here's what I want. We've been very patient with car dealers for almost 2 years, and have been recommending MSRP pricing, and dealerships are getting comfortable with the idea of not discounting cars below MSRP. My personal opinion is that it's time to push a little and start recommending to push $500 under MSRP. I've been talking to my friends in the car industry, other dealer principals and GMs that run stores, and we've been discussing the subject of discounts and selling price. Every dealer I've talked to has told me the same answer to my question: why no discounts below MSRP? The answer I received was, well, no one is asking for below MSRP, and when they do, the customers quit negotiating as soon as we, quote, the dealers say no, and the customer gives up and is just happy with getting MSRP. I think it's time to push, and by us at YAA starting to push this trend to become the new norm, maybe the trend will spread and will get picked up, and we can level the playing field, get the prices lower once again. So anyway, I mean, that's coming from someone talking directly to other dealer principals. You know, why aren't
Yes.
prices back? Why is everything going at MSRP? Why is it as low as we can go? Because no one's fighting for even lower. So
Yeah.
hell, you know what? We're tossing it out here. Pill did a great job. Contacted 21 Honda dealerships. Got a car at MSRP. Try for 500 under. You know, like
Yes, try for 1,000 under and settle for 500 under, or try for 1,500 and settle for 750 under, or try for 1,500 under and settle for 500 under. I mean, who knows? But yeah, you can try. Here's what you have to realize as a consumer, and I'll share with you how a salesperson is programmed. Salespeople are programmed. They're taught that you have to hear 5 no's from the customer when you ask them to buy a car before they'll finally say yes. Okay, so they're going to keep trying you on at whatever price it is until you hear 5 no's before you will eventually say yes. Well, the same applies to the consumer. So as the consumer, if you say, hey, I'd like to be able to buy it for $1,000 under invoice, and they go no, well, that doesn't mean you stop. It means you take 4 or 5 more cracks at getting it somewhere below somewhere below MSRP. Okay, so I understand you won't sell to me for 1,000 below invoice. Could we for 1,000 below MSRP? Could you check with your boss and see if he would say entertain 950 or 900? Okay, and you keep stepping them down the same way they're going to try and step you up as to how much you'll pay. But if it takes 5 no's before you get a yes as a salesperson, the same holds true for the customer. It takes 5 no's before the salesperson might finally say to a sales manager, hey, this guy or gal is just wearing me the hell out. Okay, I can't get them off of this. Can't we just take a short deal this time? Can't we just give them $500 off of MSRP and move on with life? And I can go sell another car. And I promise you, on the next car, I'll get you $1,000 additional dealer markup to make up for it. So try as the customer. You have to try, and you have to try more than once.
Now, another reason, Pops, that car dealerships, I think, hey, this is just my perspective, might want to reconsider the way that they're doing some of their business practices. And I know we started tonight's stream off with the title, car dealerships are starting to crumble, and you set me straight. You know, they're not, because Ford's just doing this and the dealerships are flexing their muscle. But Pops, I want to pull up on the screen here. This comes by way of automotive news. KPA. So KPA is, and it says it right down here. They're one of the where is it? Wish to review the internal practices. KPA. They're a compliance firm in automotive.
Yes.
Payment packing, fraud vigilance, big issues for finance and insurance. KPA is repeatedly observing payment packing and a lack of vigilance regarding loan applicants as problems in the car dealership F&I office. Pops, can you please?
Do you want me to explain what payment packing is?
I do. I just want to read this really quick. I asked Ryan Daly, who oversees 42 states as KPI's F&I compliance district manager, which incorrect practices stood out as those dealerships should watch out for going into 2022. These are the 2 big ones that are happening right now. Please, what the heck is payment packing, and how can we combat it?
Payment packing is as you know, most dealerships work, and I do apologize for that Freudian slip that it came out dealerships, but most dealerships use a Foursquare or use some type of worksheet that reflects payments. Now, oftentimes the payments that are reflected are in a range. It might say with $2,000 down, the monthly payments $575 to $585 a month. Okay, well, that's payment packing. Either it's $575 or it's $585. There isn't a $10 swing. Okay, there isn't a $10 spread in there or a $20 spread. They also might quote you payments that already have a warranty factored in, or dent and ding insurance, or tire and wheel. So payment packing is taking what your real payment should be, and let's say it should be $550, and they pencil the deal at $575, and then they finally close the deal at, say, $560 a month. Meanwhile, that's still $10 a month more than what the real payment should have been. That's payment packing.
And that's why you should negotiate the
price of every item that you're considering in F&I, but you need, before you get the F&Is, to always negotiate the out the door price on the vehicle. And then you can determine how that's going to impact your payments. And it wouldn't be all that hard in today's world to probably have an app on your phone so that you can plug in the amount financed and an interest rate that you think would be fair, and have it spit out whatever the term is, and have it spit out what that payment should be, so that you know what your payment should be.
I think the bigger issue is putting in the other products, not disclosing them. So they use the example in the article. It costs $400 a month to buy a vehicle, but the dealership tells the consumer it's $500. The inflation comes from the fact that there are products in there, like an extended warranty or gap coverage or whatever it is that you didn't realize that you were actually buying. This guy Daly, who works at KPI, this is the quote, Pops. He says, Daly, a former dealership employee, recalled being instructed during his first sale to add products to a payment and not tell the customer. After asking if that was illegal, Daly was told, quote, "We've never been caught." If you don't think that these types of things happen, they do. Yeah. This is why YAA exists, to help
just because you haven't been caught doesn't mean it's not illegal. It just means you haven't been caught.
And the article actually goes on to describe in a bit more detail. According to Daily, enforcement of payment packing by the FTC and state attorneys generals fell off recently, but the laws remain on the books, and KPA saw a rise in private litigation during that time, lawsuits that led the FTC or states attorneys generals to take action. You always have recourse that you can take here. You don't want to have to do it the way you don't want to have to do it
that way. I know my finance managers used to hate the fact that I would show the customer the payment to the penny. It is what it is. If we're financing X and we're at a 2.99 rate, here's the payment based on a 45 days to your first payment. Here's the payment to the penny. You have every right to know that. It's not always rounded up. It's not a $5 or $10 a month or $20 a month spread in your payments. It's not $575 to $595. Maybe it's $570, $489 a month. But I used to put it on there to the penny, so they knew exactly what it should be and what it was supposed to be. And then if it was the finance manager's job to provide enough reasons and enough value in the products that they were selling,
you don't have to justify it. It's fine. Yeah, it's all good
for them to actually sell the product, not for me to have included it in there for them.
Got a good question here from Chris. Is the invoice price of a vehicle for the exact same vehicle the same from one dealership to another? Great question.
Yes, the invoice price is the same. Now, in days where there's stair-step programs, incentive programs like that we don't really see that much anymore, larger dealers could qualify for larger incentives from the manufacturer, which would ultimately make their net cost less than a smaller dealer. But the invoice itself is the same for all dealerships. It's just whatever factory incentives that might be able to be earned can be different.
Now, Pops, as we were having this conversation about payment packing and things that go on at the dealership, it reminded me, we just revised the YAA membership. Go ahead, take a peek, join YAA.com/plans. If you want to support YAA and you also want to get support when you're buying a car, or you're filing an insurance claim, whatever the heck you're doing, check out becoming a YAA member. You have access to our coaches. And Pops, look what we did down here. We're starting to put all our coaches on the screen. So, hey, Mario, I saw that you're in the chat tonight. You are I want to give him a huge shout out right here, and Phil as well. But the amount of support that Space gives in our community is truly unbelievable. We're real people that are really dedicated. Why have we been making YouTube videos for 2 years? Because we really want to help people not get screwed at the dealership.
I
when
thought
you
it
have
was.
on-demand car review, when you can chat with us, like that's how we're here to help.
I thought we were doing this so I could become a YouTube sensation.
I feel like I don't think so. Like, I don't think we really hit the entertainment piece. Like, I feel like we really hit like the education piece and like, empowerment.
And the consumer advocacy piece.
If you're buying a car, if you know someone buying a car, they need a hand, become a member. We're here to help them. XGen Boomer, our dear friend.
Thank you,
for the
XGen.
contribution. On used cars, I make the dealer pay for only having one key, which can be upwards of $400. I try to round down to round numbers too. There's ways. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yep. Absolutely. You have to remember, and I think I think I saw a comment from Igor on one of the forums, and that is, and you've heard me say it, when a salesperson's with a customer, there's always a sale going on, whether it's the salesperson is buying whatever the customer is saying, or the customer is buying whatever the salesperson is saying. So you both have an obligation to negotiate and defend your positions. Okay. And that's why it's called negotiations. And just because they say no once doesn't mean they're going to continue to say no forever. It's like anything else. Eventually you wear the person down, and eventually a good salesperson will go to their sales manager and do their best to wear the sales manager down, because typically the easiest person to get to say yes in the dealership before there was all this inventory shortage was the sales managers, because as a sales manager, we didn't get paid unless we sold something. Okay. We got paid on all the cumulative gross profit from the deals. Well, we don't make a deal. We don't make cumulative gross profit. So we were the easiest person to get to say yes. Now today, with inventory shortages and the like, it's a little more difficult than it was in the past. But old habits die hard for some of these sales managers, and if the salesperson's going back and forth 5, 6, 7 times trying to close the deal, the sales manager might just give in, especially if the salesman says to the salesman, this guy's wearing me out. This gal's wearing me out. Come on, man. Just give him a little bit of a discount. Let me get on with my life.
Yep. I hear you. I totally hear you. Frank, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank Z.
Pops, I want to switch gears for a moment here.
Yes.
Did you see this story?
I don't know.
A Tesla Model 3.
You don't normally share stuff with me.
This is bewildering, what I'm about to share with you.
Okay.
A Tesla Model 3 owner purchased a brand new Tesla Model 3, took delivery on December 19th.
Okay.
Would you
That's
believe
less than
me?
a month ago.
Would you believe me if I told you that the car only had 3 of the 4 brake pads on it?
Excuse me?
I'm not making that up. Let me share my screen and show you the article. This one is scary, man.
Wow.
That's the Model 3 owner discovers car was delivered missing a brake pad.
Front or rear?
Rear.
Wow. Ooh. Bet you he needs a new rotor in the back.
She does. April does. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a truly and there's a video here. I can here. Give me 1 second to fix my audio, but we can play this video really quick so that you can actually hear the noise. She sent this off to the Tesla. It's like a virtual service rep. Let me share my screen again and I'll
she couldn't take it to the Tesla service department?
Not how that works.
Nearby? Oh yeah, she needs a new rotor on that wheel.
Okay, but hear me out then. She sent that to her texting service rep at Tesla, and they said, no, it sounds fine. And she
really?
said, I think that sounds fine. She took it to a local shop that had previously worked on some Teslas. They literally just took the wheel off, and there's no brake pad.
Yeah, so that's an easy one to discover.
And now Tesla's giving her $100 a day in Uber credits to get around. Pops, that is that is quality control issues that you can't have, right? You can't
Well,
have those.
one would have to question how somebody could miss a brake pad, whether it's a human being or whether it's a robot. But maybe when the robot went to grab that fourth brake pad, the brake pad thing was empty and it just grabbed air, apparently. Or it was either right before or right after lunch. And the human being was more concerned about mayo for his turkey sandwich.
I was just
Um,
blown away when I saw that story. I think that's indicative of all these companies we see trying to grow too fast, and some of the issues. This is someone's primary form of transportation. She spent tens of thousands of dollars on that car.
Zach, when I first got into the business, and I
Mhm.
was at Ionaka Motors, which was a Dodge and Subaru dealership,
Yeah.
okay, and we had one of their little pickup trucks, and on one side it was a Dodge, and the other side it was a Chrysler product, okay. What are you going to do? Nobody caught it at the factory. When I was at Burge Mazda Volkswagen in Mesa, Arizona,
Yeah.
okay, and we had a Volkswagen Jetta, and in the front it had leatherette seats, and in the back it had cloth plaid seats. Okay, how's that happen? It happens.
No, I hear
Now
you.
now
You're level-headed about this. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Now the fact that nobody could see it, or if somebody saw it and just said, "Ah, the hell with it," that's a different story.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't it didn't bother me as much that one side of the pickup was a Chrysler and one side was a Dodge, but it would bother me a great deal that a car has 3/4 or 75% of its brake pads. That would bother me. That's an issue that should never happen,
I hear you.
because that's safety related. You know,
Exactly.
the fact that, maybe the back seat's different fabric than the front seats, that's easily fixed.
So how about this, Pops? Let's head to the chat for a little bit. I've got a couple other stories I want to run by you tonight, but let's pull this up here from Frank. Again, thank you. We really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Frank Z.
How much leverage do we have when there is short supply and the dealer will not remove the additional dealer markup and dock fees? I think this goes back to the story we were sharing before from the community forum, Pilled, reaching out to
Yeah.
21 Honda dealerships. But what do you think, Dad?
Well, the greatest leverage you have is to say no, and they'll go, okay. The next person that comes in will pay it. Okay, yeah, that can happen. Mass production always has room for error. See, that's what I said.
Who's a friend, Pops?
Good to see you, Yanni.
There it is.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, my friend. But the point is that there's always more than one dealership, or typically there's more than one dealership, and you just have to keep asking and asking and asking until you become an irritant. I mean, what the squeaky wheel gets the grease. How many times have we heard that saying? Well, you just have to become the squeaky wheel. Okay. And if you're at the dealership and you're with the salesperson, don't leave. Keep talking, even though they say no. Keep talking, keep asking, because that's what they do to you when you say no to the price that they want. So
Yep.
you just have to keep at it, or you have to do what Pill did, and you get in touch with, in his case, 21 dealerships until he could find one that wasn't a pig, and said, "Yeah, we'll be more than happy to sell the car at MSRP."
And let me show two things really quick because we have this question here from Norman. Norman saying, how much longer till the YA car search is up and running with actual cars shown to search through? Well, Norman, I'm going to show you two things, and then Pops, with what you just hit on, I want to pull that up as well. You have some resources. We're not leaving you high and dry. So yeah, if you come to the website and you click on vehicle search, name a car, Pops.
Volkswagen Jetta. They still make a Jetta?
They still make a Jetta. Jetta. You
Gotta
can
get a
search.
Jetta.
We got all the inventory here. One of the things we're most proud of is if you come down here, you're actually going to see what the total price is, so what you can expect that total price to be. You've got your vehicle service contract quote right here. So when the dealership tells you it's $3,800, don't be buying that. But what I want to pull up here, Dad, is if you come under resources and then forum, that'll take you to the community. And now there are two things here in the community that I want to show you. The first one is I got to scroll down a little bit because I got to find it here. Right here. Mark Pointer. I just showed you the VSC quote, right? Thank you to
Yeah.
Candace for assisting me to purchase a Supreme Plus 150,000 mile vehicle service contract for our 2017 Hyundai Tucson. We have 60,000 miles on it now, and our original warranty ran out. Our dealer agent, so the dealership, called to offer us 125,000 miles for $4,800. Okay, for 36 easy payments of $136 a month. I told them to go scratch and that I would call YAA. They told me to be careful. However, I am well aware and a proud member of the YA community and got a better plan than what they offered for $1,738, Pops.
Ooh, wow.
So if you're not using our car search, you're not getting quotes for these things, and you just sign the dotted line, that's $3,000.
That we saved somebody.
That's crazy. And then what I wanted
Yeah.
to pull up here was go to dealership reviews. Thank you, Justice. There's been over 124 YAA community member dealership reviews. Justice has done an awesome job organizing them here into this spreadsheet. You can come in here. You're going to go buy a Ford. Great. I saw there was a Ford dealership, Granger Ford. So I'm going to copy the name. I'm going to come back to the forum. Last edit 2 days ago. Thank you, Justice. And I'm going to search for Granger Ford. And now I can go find the person who had an experience with Granger Ford, right? And I can see. We even have some contact info here, right?
That's
Great.
pretty cool, isn't it?
That's how that's somewhat useful stuff, we hope.
You think?
Yeah.
And how much was that?
I mean, some aspects of what I just shared you have to pay for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't tee me up for that right
Okay, I'm sorry. I take it all back.
now. Not everything's free, Pops. Not
Yeah.
everything's free. Yeah, here we go from Carl. You guys truly have allowed me to feel empowered in a very important and potentially stressful stage of life. Buying my first car, we appreciate that.
That's the whole point.
There you
That's
go.
what
I
we're
got
trying to do, yeah.
1,200 off of my VSC and 300 off of Gap, and even got my interest rate down half a point. The F&I manager even said, "Wow, you did your research when I bought up the buy rate and F&I markups." That's awesome.
There's value in the stuff that we teach, the stuff
But
that we talk
and
about.
that's what you got to push back. You got to push back against these systems. You have to.
There's real world savings to be had if you utilize some of the tools that we provide you with and some of the terminology that we provide you with.
Yep.
There's money to be saved for those that are willing to invest the time, effort, and energy. Now, if you're not willing to invest the time, effort, and energy, well, then shame on you.
I don't know if it's shame on you. We get it. But Stiggs McQueen saw an update on Texas consumers saying their dealers won't take outside financing. State Consumer Protection Agency says they need evidence in writing. Dealers saying they do take outside financing. We've heard a lot of stories on this.
Yes. And I don't know. I just in my life I've never heard of a dealership saying, "No, I'm not going to take your money. we'll only let you pay for the car using our money or our finance sources." That is such nonsense. Go find another dealer.
Yeah, exactly. That's what all of this becomes. Is essentially what we're doing. How many dealerships are out there? 20,000.
About 17,000 new car
Honestly,
franchises.
Is it not what we're doing? Is like trying to thin that herd a little bit. Like let's get
Oh,
that down.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because there are good apples out there. They're just kind of
they're hard to find, but they're there. And what happens is that there's so many bad apples that it's just they've convinced the public that's the only way car dealers do business, and it's not. There are car dealers out there that do it the right way, the fair way, the transparent way, the easy way. But they're not the majority of the dealers. They're a small minority of dealers, unfortunately. But it's a group of dealers that's going to grow in size as time continues.
Paul Wheeler had to tell the local dealer no because of additional dealer markup. 400 miles away, found a Tucson with no additional dealer markup, a $200 dock fee, nothing else. That's exactly. Yep.
I mean, it's a shame that you have to travel that far to get your vehicle, but if there's enough savings, then it makes sense to do it. And most dealers are under the impression that the vast majority of their customers are just not going to be bothered traveling $400 to save that money, and that they'll just give in, to what the local dealer is asking for.
Great advice here from Adrian. Pops, the last time I purchased a car, I got pre-approved. I then asked the dealer to match or beat the rate if they wanted me to finance with them. You know what, Pops? Actually, we're doing a little bit of like a victory lap tonight. I got another thing to show, and this one actually is not only 100% free, but when I built it, I couldn't figure out how to make it so that you had to give us your email address. You don't even have to give us your email address.
Oh my God.
I completely screwed this one up because we were going to use this to get email addresses, but we couldn't figure it out. This is Deal School 2.0. Just go to joinyaa.com/deal school. This is how to buy a car post-COVID. Okay. After COVID-19 or in the midst of COVID-19, how things have changed, how to understand your local market conditions, how much car you can afford, all the way into navigating the F&I office. This one was done by Miss Kimberly Klein. Give me a second. I'm going to play it really quick.
It is without a doubt. Kimberly did just a phenomenal job with this video.
She filmed it. She edited it. Like she just walks you through every single aspect of financing or purchasing your car deal. And again, I screwed it up. We were supposed to use this to get email addresses. I screwed it up. So you know what? I couldn't fix it. We left it out there. No big deal.
You know what they say in the Navy, don't you?
Ship happens, man.
Ship happens, buddy. Yep.
Yeah. We've got from Z Ortiz. I have a good story. I would need to call you, Ray. Well, you know what? We'll probably come back to doing phone calls next week once you're back in the.
Yeah, I'll be at your side. I'll probably accidentally drink your glass of water instead of my own.
So a couple things that are coming down the pike that I'm looking over here. I've got the iPad that I bought you and the Apple Pencil. Next week, we'll start.
I've always wanted an Apple Pencil. That'll come in handy if I'm in the mood for a snack.
Correct.
Yes.
Next week, we're going to start the telestration. So we're going to ask people to start sending us in their car deals again, like we've done in the past. We're going to be able to put them up on the screen, and you're actually going to be able to draw on them, write on them, mark them up. Pretty much tell us what we need to be looking at and what we need to know. I'm excited.
Okay. I'm in on that.
We also, next week, we're filming our first car reviews, so stay tuned for that. We got a lot of fun stuff queued up for those. That should be very exciting. And I've heard back on the Ray and Zach channel. Did you see, Pops? I think we just passed 2,500 subscribers on that.
Yes.
Channel. If you're not subscribed there, we do a daily news show, which is, I enjoy it. I think a lot of people get value out of it. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify as well. Just search daily news you can use and you'll find it. We've been doing I think a really good job, getting information into people's hands there.
Yes, and that's every day, noon East, 9 West, 9 a.m. West, and you figure out your own time zone in between.
Altanova, thank you for this, and we'll end on this really thoughtful donation. Thank you guys for all you do. Bought my first in January of 2021. Your content was 90% of my research, and I went in, got a fair price on everything, and practically led my own sale. Because of you, it was seamless and even pleasant. How's that make you feel, Pops? Well,
that makes me feel good, and that must have made the dealership feel really bad if you walked away thinking it was pleasant. They probably think they failed miserably, but that's the way it should be. It's your money that you're spending, and dealerships are asking you to spend the second largest amount of money you're going to spend in your lifetime. And I just believe that that should be a pleasant, fun experience when you're committing to spend that kind of money. So I'm glad, and thank you for the donation, and I'm glad that you were able to have a almost pleasant experience. That would be like going to a dentist and saying it was almost pleasant.
And I think honestly what we strive for is just empowered, informed, educated.
Yes.
Because you go into this process and I never knew it. I never knew it because you were there with me by my side. We're trying to make sure that other people who can't have you by their side, they can either reach out to us, like we got our coaches and we got the support network, but they just need to be empowered.
It's you've always heard me say it, and it's those that know the most pay the least, and those that know the least pay the most. So what we're trying to do is get you into those who know the most category so that you can pay the least. And then ultimately what we would like to see happen is that everybody just gets to pay the same. Okay, and you don't have to worry about being a good negotiator or a bad negotiator. It's just there's a certain level of transparency that would be attached to the process of buying cars, where dealerships understand that if they make it more pleasant and less time consuming for customers, that ultimately they can have more customers and especially more repeat customers, so that they will end up being more profitable in the long run.
I think there's three things that I think about that as we're continuing to build YAA. Education.
Yes.
And quite frankly, the place that you go to purchase the damn thing, whether it's a mattress, a Miata, or name another M thing.
A Mitsubishi.
No, I didn't want to do a car. I was trying to
Oh, okay.
you know.
A magna cum laude. Oh no, that's a college degree. Yeah.
You probably can't purchase one of those.
Yeah.
You should feel educated during
Oh,
that.
you can purchase one of those.
Yeah,
buddy.
definitely.
Yeah.
There should be more transparency, like you were just saying. That
Yeah.
goes without saying. And it should be a more human experience. Right now, it's so adversarial.
Mhm.
You can't trust the person sitting across the other side. It should just be a more human experience. That's what we're pushing for and striving for. You know what? I forgot one thing, Dad. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of people in the car business will tell you, a lot of salespeople, a lot of sales managers, they will justify their techniques by saying, well, if the customer's lips were moving, they were lying. Customers lie to the salespeople all the time. Well, that's customers do it out of self-defense, because they've been confronted by this monster that's been developed in the way cars are sold, and those in the car business absolutely refuse to try and look at the process through the customer's eyes, because, well, they think they know what should make the customer happy without ever asking the customer.
We got an awesome comment here from Yanni. Yanni and my dad worked together for a long time, and Yanni
Yes.
recently got a promotion. So congrats to you on over in the service side. I can attest to Ray always and before YAA advocating for people. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. I mean, well, you can talk the talk and walk the walk. And I didn't just talk about it, I lived it. That was the way I tried to run the dealerships
And
that
Yanni
I
does
ran.
too. We have some videos
Yes.
with Yanni from
Yes.
last year talking about the service side.
Absolutely. You surround yourself with people that share the same beliefs that you do as to how a dealership should operate. And are you going to please everybody at the dealership? No, you're not. You just can't. No matter how hard you try, there's just some people that you will never please. But if you can please 95% of them, if you could make the process of buying a car more enjoyable for 95% of the people, because you're doing it the right way, then that's the way you should do it, at least in the world that I worked in. And thankfully, I worked for enough owners that allowed me to operate like that.
Got a final story for the night, and then let's call it a day. The state of Michigan, Michigan's Department of Motor Vehicle, they have over 300 snow plow trucks, 330 to be exact.
Yes.
Earlier this year, I guess it was last year, they did a truck naming contest, okay? And there were over 15,400 entries put into the naming contest. I would like to read out a few of them to you.
Okay.
We have a truck named, of course, Cheese Puff, which is a personal Cheese Puff.
Okay.
Derek Sleater, Dr. Plowgood,
Ooh.
Han Snowlow,
Yeah.
John Bon Snowy, Kid Rock Salt, Melton John.
Ooh, I like that one.
Scoop Dog.
Oh, yeah, Scoop Dog. Yeah.
The Big Leplowski.
Oh, I like that.
Weird Plow Yankovic.
That's a great one. Yeah.
State of Michigan, man. They're doing
but Weird Plow Yankovic, he doesn't really plow snow. He mimics plowing snow.
Fair enough. It reminds me of the Bodie McBoatface thing.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Pops, let's call it a night. You're driving here early tomorrow morning. Please get here safe and sound. And then I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Well, maybe not. It's supposed to be snow and rain.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to slip sliding my way down to your office on Monday.
Yeah, be careful. Well, Monday's a holiday, but yeah, I'd like to see you on Monday.
Well, we have a show to do, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get holidays. It's the car business, buddy. We don't get holidays.
And then we got the football game that night. That'll be fun. Join YAA.com. Search for your car there. Get a quote on the extended warranty there before you buy it anywhere else. Just see if the price is cheaper. We have a flat markup. We know we're pretty competitive, if not the cheapest. We've got the membership as well. Join YAA.com. please check it out. Pops, thanks for another fun Saturday. And I cannot wait to be by your side. Get here safely.
I will do my best, young man. I will do my best. Thank you for tonight. It was fun.
All right, Pops. I love you. Thanks, everyone.
Love you too. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Night.